Hi, you've probably heard the word Gyanvapi by now. It means a well of wisdom. But I'm reasonably confident that nothing you've seen on endless debates on television channels on Gyanvapi are exactly full of nuggets of intelligence. It's ironic because it's a tough time. Inflation is breathing down people's necks. Everything is more expensive. About 900 million Indians who were previously unemployed have stopped looking for a job actively. But obviously, the headlines are suggesting that our biggest challenge is figuring out which mandir was under which masjid at which point in history. My name is Anubha Bhonsle, and I have to say that this video is the only newsworthy video you need if you'd like to understand what it's all about and what exactly is happening. The Gyanvapi Mosque is actually 4 centuries old. The contention here is that Aurangzeb raised down the original Kashi Vishwanath temple that was built in the 17th century and built the Gyanvapi Mosque. And so Hindu groups represented by the Vishwa Vedic Sanatan Sangh say that they should have a right to pray inside the mosque complex, or better still, have that entire land transferred to them. Now, this is actually exactly the sum and substance of petitions that are keeping at least 3 courts in this country busy: a Varanasi District Court, the Allahabad High Court, and even the Supreme Court of India. And remember, apart from these petitions, there are obviously counter petitions that have been filed by the mosque management that are also pending before court. I'm not going to get into details of each of these cases because that's part of the point I'm trying to make in this video. We've been here before. We've seen the same exact debate play out several times. The call to reclaim Kashi was actually first given by Hindu saints in 1984, along with the one to reclaim the birthplace of Ram in Ayodhya and the birthplace of Krishna in Mathura. All these 3 places, why? Because they were allegedly razed down centuries ago by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. The Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi case is obviously the first one. It picked up momentum fast. The important thing to remember here is that while it was unraveling, the government had passed the Places of Worship Special Provisions Act in 1991. Now, this simply forbids the conversion of a place of worship from how it was on the 15th of August 1947. The law was passed so that we didn't have these conversations repeatedly and to prevent future tussles over the identity and origins of religious sites. Something we are doing exactly now. The law made an exception for the Babri Masjid Ayodhya case. The BJP at the time was against the law, but it welcomed the exemption and asked if it could be extended to Mathura and Kashi. Remember, that particular extension or exemption in a sense was never granted. The year after the Places of Worship Act was passed, the Babri Masjid was demolished on the 6th of December 1992. Now, we all know what happened or what happened next. And many among you, or some among you, may be old enough to have heard of the idea of Ayodhya to bas jhanki hai, Kashi Mathura baki hai. It took shape then. Now, around the same time, 1991, the first legal petition surrounding the Gyanvapi Mosque's origins entered the courts. The case actually stayed dormant until 2019, which is when the Supreme Court delivered the unanimous verdict in the Ayodhya case. The apex court, as we know, ruled that the land on which the Babri Masjid stood indeed belonged to Lord Ram, and it directed the Uttar Pradesh government to allocate a different plot of land for the construction of a mosque. Why am I noting this? Because within a month of this particular verdict, a fresh petition was filed to do an archaeological survey of the Gyanvapi Mosque. In 2020, those 1991 petitioners, they reapproached the courts to hear their original plea again. Recently, in 2021, August, 5 women, members of the Vishwa Vedic Sanatan Sangh, they went to a civil court in Varanasi asking for permission to pray to the statues of Hindu gods that were apparently or are allegedly located inside the mosque. Now, more petitions have been filed, including one that actually seeks a complete ban on Muslims praying inside the mosque and the land being transferred to the Hindus. In the last 2 months, the Varanasi Civil Court has heard cases related to the Gyanvapi Mosque on a near daily basis. It ordered a video survey of the mosque. The Allahabad High Court is also listening to as many as 6 petitions regarding the land dispute in some form. Even the Supreme Court of India, the Apex Court, has got involved. It transferred the plea of the 5 Hindu women I mentioned just a short while ago from the civil court to a senior district judge in Varanasi. It is also hearing a separate plea by the Gyanvapi Mosque management that is obviously challenging the maintainability of these women's petitions, considering, remember, there is a Places of Worship Act that we have on our statute. All of this is ironic and important for you because in its landmark Babri Masjid verdict just 2 years ago, the Supreme Court noted the importance of the Places of Worship Act. It called it, in the court's words, an opportunity for healing the wounds of the past. And I'm quoting from the judgment now. It said that in preserving the character of places of public worship, the Parliament has mandated in no uncertain terms that history and its wrongs shall not be used as instruments to oppress the present and the future, unquote. So despite having sold for an almost exact situation a few years ago, we are seeing the Gyanvapi case get near daily hearings at courts that are otherwise so overwhelmed. For context, the Allahabad High Court has around 10,30,000 pending cases before it, and the last lakh cases were added to the backlog in just the last 4 years. Quite naturally, since the courts have allowed or are hearing these petitions related to the Gyanvapi Mosque, the floodgates, in a sense, have opened. Bear with me as I'm going to list them out. On the 17th of May, a Hindu group from Karnataka has claimed or alleged that the Masjid-e-Ala in Srirangapatna was built on top of a Hanuman temple that was destroyed by Tipu Sultan. They approached local administrators. They are seeking a survey and a permission to worship on the mosque's premises. On the 18th of May, the Akhil Bharat Hindu Mahasabha wrote a letter to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi requesting the excavation of Hindu idols that they are alleging are buried under the steps of New Delhi's Jama Masjid. On the 20th of May, a Mathura district court admitted a plea seeking the transfer of the land on which the Shahi Eidgah Mosque stands because it's allegedly where Lord Krishna was born. In Bhopal, the Sanskriti Bachao Manch has approached the state for an archaeological survey into the city's Jama Masjid. They are alleging it was built on a Shiva temple. On the very same day, the MNS, which stands for the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, alleged that Pune's Puneshwar and Narayaneshwar were destroyed by Alauddin Khilji of the Delhi Sultanate, and they rallied a lot of public support for their campaign to free temple land. Back in Varanasi, another court case has been filed with petitioners asking for permission to worship at the Bindu Madhav temple, alleging that it was destroyed by Aurangzeb. Important to remember that the structure is now an ASI protected monument. There are also 2 other cases that are challenging the constitutionality of the Places of Worship Act itself. So I'm hoping with this entire list, you get the picture. It feels like we're going round and round in circles and also back in time. The BJP made its first official statement on the matter 2 days ago, along the lines of saying that only Ayodhya was a political party mandate, and for all other cases they'll follow the courts and the court's decision. I have to say, it's actually one of the saner takes on this latest flare-up. As to what journalists, television channels and news editors are doing on screen with round-the-clock Gyanvapi debates, I would really recommend switch it off entirely. It's not newsworthy. It's not worthy of your time, not worthy of your attention and intellect. This, I'm sure, was. We're spending time, energy, effort, research, resources, ground reportage to bring you the most incisive, sharp, complete and contextual videos on subjects that deserve your attention, that are complex. I need your support to be able to do this consistently. So please support Newsworthy. Don't just do it once, do it consistently, do it every month. We'll put out those call outs. I've activated super thanks on YouTube. It allows you to make a contribution. You can see that animation coming up on the screen. It's extremely simple, just 2 clicks. So please support this video. You can also support past videos. And some of you have already contributed through our 2 payment links. They are linked up in the description on YouTube. They're also in our bio on Instagram. If you've been watching, thank you so much for your time.